There's no arguing that people love their cars.
We weren't arguing.
They talk about their cars, sing about their cars. Some people even look like their car. Whether it's an old car, new old car, fast car, family car, electric car, race car, two-wheel car, no-wheel car, or a car you know's parked around here somewhere. People who love their cars love to tinker with them. Some people tinker big, some people tinker small. Some people tinker some degree between those two variables.
Whose voice is that?
And that's where Supercheap Auto comes in. We've been helping people tinker for 50 years. For people like Bill, Lucy, Kevin, other Kevin.
Oi, get off my car!
Didn't catch this guy's name.
It's Kevin.
Not Patrick. He doesn't shop with us. Whoever you are, whatever you drive, we'll help you make it super. Because super is our middle name.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another round. As of course, this is round 8 of the Supercheap Auto East Coast V8 series. I'm John Van Ree. With me tonight, I have Mark Duggan. We are in for a cracker as we head to an hour's drive north of the one and only San Francisco, up to a place called Sonoma Raceway, used for, of course, the NASCARs as well. Let's have a quick look at the circuit. See if Mark's with you. Can you hear me now, Mark? I think we've still got some technical issues with Discord again. Bear with us. Let's have a quick look at the track while we try and get ourselves sorted. And of course, the track starts on start, finished straight away into turn 1 straight away, up the sweeper, up the hill into turn 2. And after we roll through turn 2, it's up another sharp shoot through turn 3 and 3A, where we then head down into turn 4, and then we sweep through the infield complex of the longer NASCAR circuit through 5, 6, sweep around onto the drag strip, and then we round the end of the drag strip at turn 7. Then we come down through the fast-flowing rear section of the circuit through turns 8, 9, sweep through 10, and then into the horseshoe at turn 11, and then sweeping through 12 back onto the start-finish straight. It is a tight little circuit for everybody. So it'll be very interesting to see how these guys tackle this tonight. And if you see James Scott already setting the fastest time in practice. And speaking of James, we'll have a very quick look at the points. So this is with the 2 drop rounds now taken into consideration. James Scott leads on 8.95, 8.76 from Scott Gamble, Dylan Rudd on 8.69. So still fairly tight up in the top end. I don't think any of those guys can afford a bit of a mistake. Jacob O'Reilly, Zach Flassbaum from Veerland, Ty Delaney in 6th, Brenton Hobson in 7th, Tim Mulford in 8th. That rounds out the overalls. In the pros, have a little bit of a different shake-up there due to the breakup of a couple of Super 2 boys getting in the mix, being taken out. So we've got Scott Gamble, Rudd, O'Reilly, Hobson, Flassbaum, Delaney, Bismarck, Dawson and Rattray White rounding out the top 10. Move into the Super 2 boys. Troy Stone Street takes the lead on 8.85, only 2 points ahead of Timmy Mulford. Dave Coleman for Fishy Motorsports ain't that far behind. He's only 9 points back from the lead. Reg James sitting on 816 in 4th. Then we've got this JWM Simsport, Stephen Tonkins, John Fillingham in 6th. And in 7th, we've got Matthew Shanahan, both from Veteran Games Australian. Russell Gander in 8th. Greg Sharp still with the broken toe, won't be with us tonight in 9th. Dean Flavelle, his teammate, WK&P, rounding out the top 10. And have a look at the Vets lads. Scotty Gamble leads from 95 Sim Sports from Stone Street. John Fillingham, the split 3 Vets driver, doing sensational, sitting there in 3rd. Reggie James in 4th from WK&P. Gander, McNamara, Sharp, Minogue, Flavelle, Blanchard round out the order in that area of the Vets grid. And just see if you're with me, Mark. Sorted out our problems.
I think so. I can hear you, so hopefully you can hear me.
I can. How are you, Mark?
Yeah, very good. Good to be here. Smaller field than usual, but probably won't harm on this tight, twisty circuit.
Won't harm, and I think it will offer some good solid points for a few of these guys. Just outside those top positions. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how these guys tackle this.
Yeah, definitely a tricky little track, that's for sure. And I never had much luck around this track myself, but looking forward to like you said, the way these boys tackle it. Just heading out for qualifying now, so they've got 15 minutes to set a time, and I'm guessing James Scott is going to be the odds-on favourite for pole position here.
Yeah, I'd be putting my money on James, keeping a close eye on this fella as well, Richie Stanaway, currently 4th in the Supercar Championship. And here with us tonight. So great to have Richie joining us, and looking forward to seeing what Richie does for the rest of the Supercar series as we start to approach Bathurst. But he's not on his own. He's got, as we said, James Scott, his Lob's teammate with him. No Dylan Rudd tonight, so that create an interesting one because I don't think Dylan had too many drop rounds left. Brenton Hobson's one to keep an eye on as well. Hobbo drives quite well around this place. And missing a few tonight, I'll probably say Mark, because we've got, as that mix-up we talked about last week, we've got the Pro Series at Red Bull tomorrow night. A few of these boys are probably getting a little bit of late practice in on that. But I don't mind, that opens the field up for this. So expect some names we're not used to come out and shine.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, good to have Richie in here with us tonight. Apparently he's got some skills in a real-life race car, doing very well at his new home at Grove Racing, so that's good to see. The Pro Series on tomorrow night has affected the field tonight, but that won't stop the boys out there having some fun themselves.
Absolutely. Then the other bloke I want to give a shout out to, of course, is Simon Mesamo from 95 Sim Sports. If you haven't had a chance to go have a listen to Simon and Scott Rankin's You Can't Park There podcast, I highly recommend you take the time and go and have a listen. They have done some cracking interviews with some cracking drivers, the likes of Madison Down, Bo Albert, James Scott, Jake Burton, but they've also gone a little bit deeper and had a couple of good chats to the likes of Peter Baxter and Mike Korolev, just to name a few. So definitely a podcast series worth going on and listening to if you haven't already been listening to it.
And you do need a 2-hour parking permit to listen to that one because it does go for a while, but they are good yarns, and I've been enjoying listening to them on my way to and from work in the car.
Yeah, definitely worth the listen. As we have a look here, Richie leading the boys out on this first lap of quali. Only a 15-minute qualifying session. You get a limited amount of runs. You don't want to get caught out of the sequence of everybody on track. That tends to lead to you being balked when you do come to do your runs. So just be intrigued to keep an eye on some of these lads as we get this qualifying session finally underway. Pink sector's already for Gamble and Hobson behind. There's Richie with the first car through. And second car through goes a 132. Gamble was a 131.8. That's a pretty good time for Scott, setting the pace. Hobson goes faster with a 131.6. And seeing who else can jump up. Visma's in P3 at the moment. Timmy Mulford's got a 132.8. James Scott, as predicted, 131.3. So he's well and truly a bit quicker than a few of these lads. And jumping up the order quite quickly there. Stone Street, he's sitting in 6th. Dunaway's bumped back down to 7th. It's not a circuit where draft will play a lot in your qualifying. So interesting to see how a few of these boys tiptoe their way around.
Yeah, no, I think this is a track where you want clean air in front of you so you can concentrate on your lines, because there are a few tricky lines through here. So the ideal thing is to find some space and do your own thing.
Yeah, definitely. Dave Coleman didn't set a time in that first rendezvous, nor did Aidan Cole. Alan Dawson hasn't got a time on the board yet either. So a couple of guys there sitting a bit further back. Interesting names a little bit further down in Fillingham. Tim's down in 14th. Would have expected John maybe to have been a little bit further up the list. But still early days, only 5 minutes gone. These lads will be heading back to the pits now to chuck a new set of boots on and go again. Sean McNamara in the chat saying Rankin carries Mez big time. It's another person who's been on podcast. Another name I didn't mention was Sean McNamara. Very interesting background in karting from Sean. Raced at the Ipswich karting complex where a lot of big names in motorsport have gone through over his time there. And the boys now creeping back out, doing a slow lap, trying to look after these tyres so they can have another one lap shot. Be a little bit careful not to go too slow because you get caught out by the qualifying rules and your lap will be invalid. So Gamble sitting P3 at the moment. He'd be looking to get himself up to P2 on that front row. Stone Street leading the Super 2 boys. Sitting back in 6th spot. And has Flavel and Mulford behind. All in the pits at the moment. Probably be looking for a bit of luck tonight, I think, Mark. He's been a little bit unlucky. Vets and East Coast over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think when you're racing in that in around that mid pack from sort of 12th down to anywhere near the back of the grid, you're at the mercy of everybody else around you, and it's very easy to get caught up in other people's accidents, and sometimes you find yourself making your own mistakes. So yeah, Troy's definitely been on the improve. We know that from previous seasons, and yeah, he just needs a little bit of luck to get himself entrenched in the top 10 overall points for him. He's driving very well, and like you say, just sometimes you just gotta ride them bad periods out, and they feel like they go for years. But once the good times come, it's happy days, and you seem to accumulate a good run of points when your good luck does come around.
Yeah, exactly right. As heading up turn 2, right on board with James Scott for his hot lap.
Trying to escort Richie Stanaway around at the moment while he's terminated at the moment. So yeah, Richie's currently down in P6, I think. P7 actually. So yeah, Richie will want to climb up the grid a little bit on that one.
Looking for it. Nicely tucked in behind. Just looking at the track temperature, it's 46 degrees.
Yeah,
20 degrees.
nice.
It's only 20 degrees out though. So hopefully the track won't heat up too much more during the race. But definitely make these boys work a little bit harder. One of the hardest cars to drive on the iRacing platform.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we're down to about 5.5 minutes to go. So boys will get one more run in after this.
James Scotty looks like he's about to go a lot quicker with 2 purple sectors. Dunaway's all green behind, so expect him to jump up the order. As Scott comes across, he goes with a 131.192. Dunaway's jumped up above Stone Street with a 132.28, so he's improved. Alan Dawson sitting in 8th, Mumford still in 9th, back on an outlap. So these boys will be looking to skedaddle, hopefully get back out in time to get another lap in.
Yeah, well, they can't afford to waste too much time. Got to get on with it. So Richie improved one spot there. James got a pretty healthy buffer at the top of the table at the moment. He's about 3.5 tenths ahead of Brenton Hobson.
He's about 3 tenths ahead of Gamble, so big gaps going up the top of the order there. Very tight back a little bit. Just jump on with Mark Horton. This is Mark's first outing in the series. So that is a great effort from Mark here. Backing up his teammate, Anthony Visma. Second driver from Accelerate. Runs into the pits. And Simon Mesmo sitting in the top 10. That is a great effort from him as well.
All that coaching from Team Boss.
Yes. And probably all the pressure coming from Rankin. Simon having a good dig. Good to see he's enjoying himself. The other surprise, I wouldn't say surprise, great to see, is Troy Maguire has got himself into 5th. That is a great jump up from Troy. They're definitely very competitive in the midfield. Workhorse only 200ths quicker than Stanaway. These boys all heading out now on this final lap.
Yeah.
Do their final lap, sorry.
Yep, everybody's got new boots on and heading out for one more run. We've got James Scott, Richie Stanaway, Anthony Visma tucked up behind them as well, Alan Dawson, Troy Stone Street. I'm not sure. Looks like Troy might be on a hot lap, or he's just completed a hot lap.
I'm not sure where Troy's at.
I think Troy's on a hot lap actually.
Might be, yeah.
He's a little bit out of sync with everybody else.
Bit of a worry because there's a bit of traffic in front of him with that group with Scott, Hobson, Co, and Visma.
He's just coming up on them now.
And into the hairpin. That looks like one peels off. Richie's the other one. They're staying out of their way. Nicely manoeuvred. Stone Street with 2 green sectors already. A very busy track. You don't get much of a break as a driver around here.
Yeah, very busy track, uphill and down dale as well, and yeah, just not a lot of grip around this place, especially in this car.
And Stone Street doesn't improve. Stays in 7th. Let's go back. James Scott now firing up for his last lap. Minute 15 to go in this session. These guys, this will be it. This is their last chance. Smart and nicely tucked up behind Stanaway. A little bit loose, that's not fast. And the Viz goes wide. That'll be a 1X. That'll be the end of him. He won't be going any quicker. But Stanaway still tucked in behind. I had a feeling James Scott did a purple sector in that first sector. It's a good time through the middle. It's coming down into the horseshoe and he's straight into the pits. So Scott hasn't gone quicker after that. Richie, though, he's got a fair bit of green on the cards.
Yeah, it didn't look like James opened up the gap on Richie like he did the previous lap, so Richie may go quicker here.
And jumps up one spot into fourth, gets the nod above Anthony Visma. And big morning to Stacey Boyd in the chat as well. And still got, I think these boys have all crossed the line. Don't know why, Aiden Cole, he's in 10th. He'd be pretty happy with that. Great result for Aiden. Mark Horton, he's pulled up as well. So I think that's everybody done and dusted for their quali times, Mark.
Yep, no surprises. James Scott on top, followed by Brenton Hobson, Scott Gamble, Richie Stanaway, Anthony Visma, Troy Maguire, Troy Stonestreet, Alan Dawson, Simon Mazzomo, and Aidan Cole as your top 10. 11th is Tim Mulford, then Dean Flavel, Zach Blasbaum. Bit of a surprise to see Zach down that far. He's usually a bit further up. Steve Tonkin, Matthew Shanahan, Mark Horton, John Fillingham, and Reg James. Dave Coleman hasn't set a time, so I think this Dave's taken up the mantle of Tom Freo here and regularly doesn't set a time.
Yeah, it's Coleman doing Coleman things. That is the way I look at that. Just waiting for the time to tick over, which should be any second now. Sit on board with Aidan Cole. Be pretty happy being 10th. Getting himself into the top 10. It's time to head to our grid. Of course, we line up as James Scott takes our pole position from Lobs Esports with a 131.192. Lines up alongside Brenton Hobson from Synergy Sim Racing. Scott Gamble on the second row with Richie Stanaway from Lobs. And then on the third row is Anthony Visma from Accelerate with Troy Maguire from Fishy Motorsports. Great result for Troy. Then on the fourth row, we've got the first of our Super 2 drivers, Troy Stonestreet from WK&P, lining up alongside our current Super 2 champion, Alan Dawson from Right Sim Racing. On the next row of the grid, we've got the Mez, Simon Mezamo from 95 Sim Sports, lines up alongside Aidan Cale. On the sixth row, we have Tim Mulford lining up from Phoenix Racing Team, lining up alongside Dean Flavel from WK&P. And then over the page, we go to Timmy Mulford from Phoenix Motorsport, lining up alongside Flavel from WK&P. I think I might have said that already. Zachary Vlashvan for Vermeulen Motorsports, all the way back in 13th. Probably expected Zach to be a little bit higher. Steve Tonkin from JWM sitting in 14th. And then in 15th, we have Matthew Shanahan from Veteran Gaming Australia, lining up alongside Mark Horton from Accelerate Sim Racing. John Fillingham from Veterans Gaming Australia in 17th, lines up alongside WK&P's Reg James. Dave Coleman didn't set a time. Matt McMillan is driving the safety car this evening. And we have Richard Barella as our Chief Steward, and our DSO is David Worrell. Grid is almost getting set to get going. Quickly get myself organised. This will be a cracker, I think. The lights are on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lights are out. We are racing here at Sonoma. James Scott gets a lovely jump. Looks like Hobson's going to hold out Gamble heading up the hill. Expect Gamble to have the run on to turn 3 though. No, it tucks in behind. There's a touch up the back there. I think that might be Dawson going off. Didn't see who the tap came from. We'll go back and look at that later as we head up through 3A and 3B. Heading up into turn 4. James Scott looks like he's getting a bit of a break. Already 4/10. Heading back to Gamble. And very tight. A little bit back. Stenaway. So these lead 4 cars definitely starting to break out a little bit. 5 cars, sorry. And a very interesting start there, Mark.
So yeah, great jump from James Scott. A little bit of a gap opening up behind Troy Maguire to Simon Mazzomo, but these front 5 cars very close together. Just behind Simon, we've got Troy Stone Street and Anthony Visma. So field's still fairly tight at the moment, and yeah, I'm not sure what happened with Dawson back there, but we might check that out on the replay.
Yeah, I'm about to try and find. And might go Supercheap Auto replay very quickly now as Troy Maguire was ducked into the pits. I think just not much in that, I don't think. That was just a little bit of a racing incident. We'll leave that for the stewards to decide. I just saw Maguire going down pit lane, Mark.
Yeah, I don't know if he got a jump start or whether he's just trying to get a compulsory stop out of the way early.
Let's keep an eye. He's heading to his box, so I'd say he's getting a stop out. As James Scott now out to 7/10. He's getting away. He's going to jump back on with Gamble. Gamble's tucked up behind Hobson. They've cleared out a little bit from Stanaway now. He's cleared out a little bit by 2nd and 3/10 from Mesame. Ooh, bit of a brake lock up there. But Mesame sitting in 5th, up 4 spots.
Yeah, that was a great start from Simon. He'd be very pleased with that. Yeah, well entrenched inside the top 10 now, sitting in 5th after Troy Maguire pitting in front of him.
Yeah, doing very well. I'm just going to keep an eye on Hobson. Gamble hanging on to him here.
I think this could be the big battle of the night between Gamble and Hobson.
Yeah, definitely think this is where it's going to be at.
Anthony Visma will be another one that will want to capitalise on the smaller field as well and consolidate his points haul if he can.
And just having a look here, Zachary Vlashbaum getting very racy with Dean Flavel. Both drivers up 4 spots.
Yeah, like I said, I was surprised to see Zach so far down in qualifying. Maybe he hasn't done many laps around Sonoma, I'm guessing. So, but we know how well Zach's been racing, and he has got pretty good pace. So I expect to see him fight his way through the field.
They're doing quite well, under a bit of pressure too from Aidan Kale behind. He's in this entrenched in this battle as well. He's just going to go back up the front. As Gamble starting to push a little bit closer to Hobson.
Definitely not a track that's got too many easy spots to pass. You're probably relying on a corner entry, corner exit mistake to capitalise on your opposition, or making time up in the pit lane. So, yeah, definitely not an easy place to set up a pass around here.
Yeah, it definitely makes it hard work.
Visma and Zomo side by side up the front straight.
And it looks like Visma's going to get through here. I'll rephrase that. There is through.
He gets the job done. Simon, I think, played the wise hand there and just backed out of that one a little bit and lived to fight another day.
Now has Stone Street putting a bit of pressure on him.
I think these three boys, Stone Street, Sonoma and Bismarck, probably fairly evenly matched on pace, and they probably should have a pretty good tussle tonight, I think.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing how this plays out.
Dean Favell, not too far behind these. Dave Coleman, he's currently in P12, I think. He started from pit lane. He's made some good ground already.
Yeah, never underestimate Coleman.
He's already up 7 spots for tonight, so he's the biggest mover so far.
There's him playing the wild strategy hand. Going to go a little bit further back, have a bit of a look. There's a few battles back here with Alan Dawson and Mark Shanahan. Dawson getting past.
Of course, we've got Troy Maguire all the way back at the back of the field in 19th, who took a pit stop after lap 1. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out strategy-wise later on tonight.
Yeah, stationary. Stenaway's in. Not sure what's happened to Stenaway. Stenaway's just disappeared, I think. Where is he? Yep, I think we've just lost Stenaway. Not sure what's happened there. Not an internet issue. Gonna go back to Aiden Cole. He's tucked right up behind Flavell. Not Flavell, sorry. Behind... Yeah, Flavell. Going nuts.
Just looking at Richie Senoi, definitely sort of vanished off server, so that could be an internet issue, which is very short.
And big dive from Kale. Bell gives him a little bit of room, opens the door up for Blashbomb. Blashbomb tucks him behind though. A great little battle for the bottom end of the top 10. But Flashbomb's going to get through here. And so does Mulford. Coleman in for a look.
Yeah, Dean's under all sorts of pressure at the moment. Once one went through, he had Blashbomb and then Mulford take advantage as well, and now he's under pressure from Coleman. But Dean has got a very good way of accumulating points and minding his own business and staying out of trouble. I've said this a few weeks now, that he just goes about his business quietly, gives everybody plenty of room, and lots of the time he just, as they come past him, a few laps later he waves to them as they're stuck in the wall or in the sandpit. So
yeah, very clever head.
Yeah, he just really just minds his own business, drives well within himself, and just always maximises his point source.
Jump back on board with Simon Mesamo. Under a bit of pressure from Stone Street behind now.
Track temperature still at 46.1, so not easy going out there. I'm sure they'd be very grip limited with track temp. The V8's grip limited anyway in iRacing, and yeah, when you get the mix that with higher track temperatures, it becomes a real battle.
There we go. Thanks, Richie, for the update. He didn't have any net issues. Apparently had a black flag that didn't clear. But it stopped again before the lights went out. The button didn't work on his wheel for the line locker. That's a bit unlucky, Richie.
Bad luck, Richie. Hopefully we'll see you again soon.
Yep. And if we don't, mate, all the best in Perth. Mate, still a few battles on. Recap where we're at. We've got James Scott. He is a clear 3.5 seconds ahead of Brenton Hobson. So James doing James things. Hobbo has cleared out a 1.5 now from Scotty Gamble. Excuse me. The Viz having probably one of his drives, sitting in 4th. He'd be eyeing off that podium, hoping half a chance.
Yeah, absolutely. He's doing a great job out there. He's hoping, I'm sure he'd be hoping the boys up front to battle and open the floodgates for him.
Yeah, definitely. And then Simon Mesmo in the top 5. Obviously taking a lot of tutelage from Sean McNamara, and it's paying off to be up 4 spots. Stone Street up 1 in 6. Aidan Cale having a great drive in 7th. And, of course, Zachary Vlasbom, he's up 5 spots now into 8th. But he still has Timmy Mulford with him, keeping the pressure on and rounding out our top 10. Of course, is Mr. Coleman, who started from the back of the grid. So, great drive from Dave, up 9 spots. So, of course, there you go, mate.
Sorry, I was about to say, yeah, Timmy Mulford really giving Zach from the hurry on at the moment. He's harassing the back of his car like nothing else, and forcing Zach into a few slight errors. Timmy looking to keep that pressure on to try and see if he can prise a gap open to sneak through.
They're definitely working very hard. Now, of course, if these guys are going to play the split strategy, they'll be looking at about lap 17 to come in. It's still got a few laps to keep these tyres working. Give me here, very close. There's still a long way to go in this race. We're only 9 laps of 50. There's the working suspension of the Vlasbom car.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying watching this battle at the moment.
And switcheroo up the inside's got the job done.
That was a great move from Timmy. He just had a little bit of a gap there and just put his car straight into it. And Vlasbom had no choice but to give Tim Mulford some racing room there. And Timmy capitalised very, very quickly. So great move there from Tim, proving that you can pass around Sonoma.
Yeah, definitely keeping the pressure on. Shows how it works. And just going back to that Dave Coleman battle. We haven't checked in here for a little bit. And Vlasbom here, he's under a lot of pressure as well. Here comes Coleman. Sneaky Fish almost gets the job done. Going to go too wide through the final corner. And Dust yields into turn 1. Heading up the hill into turn 2. Still side by side again. Now we've got turn 3. And Vlasbom yields and lets Coleman through. So Coleman gets another victim to be up 10 spots into 9th. He'd be looking...
Yeah, no, that was a great little dice there, John. Sorry to interrupt you there,
right?
But yeah, Dave didn't quite get the exit up making the initial pass into the last turn, but then set himself up to make sure he got on the right side of the exits on the following corners and executed it beautifully.
It definitely did very well. It's going to jump back up onto that Mesamo battle. He's definitely getting a lot of pressure from Stone Street still.
Troy doing a good job here, just biding his time, trying to force Simon into some sort of error where he can capitalise, but Simon's doing a very, very good job, just placing his car in all the right positions, not allowing Stone Street any gaps to dive into. We just heard commentators curse.
Oh, we'll be in trouble for that one.
Sorry, Simon.
They were going so well. It was a good little battle watching from behind, from the cockpit view. But anyway. Now comes under pressure from Aidan Cale. So that's going to keep him busy still anyway. Might just go back a little bit more, check on Coleman. He hasn't managed to catch Mulford as quick as we thought he would.
But they've opened up a bit of a gap on Zach Glaston, which I'm surprised about. But really, Zach hasn't done a lot of laps here because he's generally pretty well entrenched in the top 10 most weeks. So just sitting in 10th spot at the moment. But yeah, he's clearly struggling out there tonight.
Definitely a couple of little battles still around. So Dawson, Flavel, Blasbom. Mulford must have made a little bit of a mistake because he's now got the one and only Coleman behind him.
Yeah, these two boys seem to be glued together each week. They are constantly battling each other week in, week out.
Of course, Coleman trying to make the most of this. Lap 12 now, so we're getting in a situation where we'll be seeing who's looked after their tyres and who haven't. Here comes Coleman. Not quite. A little bit going on back there as well with Dawson, Flavel and Blasbom. Blasbom's lost 2 spots. And Steve Tonkin starting to catch up to those boys in front of him as well. So he'd be hoping they keep fighting. Quickly joining this battle.
Unfortunately for Zach Blasbom, he made a bit of an error in one of the braking set points of one of the corner there and running extremely wide, allowing Alan Dawson and Dean Flavel through. So Blasbom's lost 4 or 5 spots in a matter of couple of laps here, so he'll be a little bit frustrated, I'm sure.
Of course, with Red Bull being tomorrow night for the Pro Series, lacking a few teammates. Having to battle this one pretty much by himself. Seen Flavel with a bit of a lock-up in front there. It was 13, we said about 17 they'd come in, so probably seeing some guys here that probably struggling with a bit of tyre management as well.
Yeah, just checking on Troy Maguire. He's down in P17. He pitted it after the first lap of racing, which was a interesting strategy. I believe he said the car went up on the jack, so it clearly wasn't for a jump start or anything. So interesting that he would pit so early. Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see how that unfolds once all the others start making their stops.
Yeah, definitely be interesting. But he's definitely circulating reasonably well. Last lap was a 134. 134.3 to put that in perspective. That was the same time as Simon Mesamo. So definitely having a crack driving fast. We'll see where he ends up at the end of the day. As Glassbomb's now dropped the second off behind these guys.
Noticed Coleman's got through on Mulford as well, so not sure where that happened. I'll just rewind and have a look at that one, I think.
I'll bring that pass up on the replay if you like, Mark. He's done that reasonably well in the hairpin at the end of the drag strip. Nicely done. And just going to have a quick look at Flavel passing Vlasbom. Vlasbom, of course, going out wide like we talked about.
Yeah, that hairpin definitely seems like it's the place to try and set the pass up. We've seen a few people sneak up the inside there, or even on the exit of that, dive down the inside. So, yeah, it seems to be the favoured spot to set up your passing.
Yeah, definitely a fair bit of work goes into that. Setting that up. As we're on lap 15 of 50 here, jump on board with Aidan Kale. He's tucked up behind Mesamo, who's sitting in 6th.
Yeah, Aidan's really applying the blowtorch here to Simon. That'll been going on for a few laps now. We did see Simon make a bit of a lock-up. I'm not going to talk about how good he was going or placing the car in the right spots.
Nicely drifts it out of the exit there. Good little battle, couple little battles on track again now. You boys bunching back up. We're going to start seeing a few pit stops unfold. As much as go back to Lavelle. He's battling, of course, with Dawson in front of him. And Steve Tonkin still putting a lot of pressure on Vlasbom. So Steve, of course, from JWM Esports. Quite well known amongst the vets, the team, but not Steve, as he's one of the first ones to dive into the pits like we talked about. Oh, into the wall.
I was going to mention that a little bit earlier. This place has a pretty tricky pit entry. You feel like you can carry a lot of speed, but then that hard right-hander with the concrete wall comes up very, very quickly.
And as we saw, it hits hard. Of course, it's an old saying, the first tap's a warning.
Yeah, probably not something you want to do and use up your pass repair if you didn't have to. But,
No. Great little pass here from Aidan Kale on Mesamo. And Mez coming back up the inside. No, not quite there. Gonna go check on that Mulford battle. He's still hanging on to the back of Coleman though. Coleman might have got past, but Mulford's not going away. And Dean Flavel trying to hang on to the back of Dawson. So some interesting battles. So about to come into our run of first stops. Seen a couple of guys in already.
So far we've got Troy Maguire, Steve Tonkin and Mark Horton are the only 3 drivers to have pitted, and of course we saw Troy pit on lap 1 and he was stationary for 28 seconds. Not sure if Troy maybe didn't have the right fuel in for the start of the race. Maybe he left the qualifying setup in, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it could be that. As Reg James has head down the pit lane. So the leading guys out of our stoppers at the moment, Maguire, of course, with that lap 1 stop. We can see if he gets himself to about 25. And the other stop we've seen, of course, was Mark Horton on lap 2. I think was a drive-through or something. I'm not sure. But he's continuing on. And Steve Tonkin on lap 15. He has used his fast repair, I think. So he's back out on track. So need to just get those tyres warmed up. Look after the car for this stint. And see where it all shakes out at the end. Of course, for those following along at home, he was stationary for 13.7 seconds. So very short fill. So interesting to see how he progresses.
Very long pit lane this one too, John. It feels like it goes forever.
Yeah.
So you do, the lane time is around about between 45 and 50 seconds, I think.
Pit lane time, let's throw that on. Yeah, minute for Maguire, minute 4, 50 seconds for Tonkin. Blast Bomb's just been involved in something, so I might just quickly put that one away. Let's have a look what's happened to Blast Bomb in Supercheap Auto Replay. He's coming up the hill into turn 1. Oh, he's just caught the curb a little bit. It's unbalanced it, spun it sideways. Got him facing the wrong direction. Mostly lights it back the right way though. And gets himself going, so not losing too much time there. Scott still hasn't pitted, and he's having a very good little drive here. No off tracks as far as I'm aware. As Timmy Mulford is another one from that mid pack to come in, so keep an eye on how Timmy goes. Coming in for the undercut, obviously. That pit lane, as Mark said, takes forever. As Aiden Kale now coming under a little bit of pressure from and Mesmo behind. Expecting a flurry of pit stops shortly.
Yeah, currently on lap 19, so I would imagine in the next couple of laps we're probably going to see the whole field take their stop. Blast Bomb in the lane at the moment.
Going to come out behind Tonkin, which is what we expected. I think he's putting a lot more fuel in we had before. We're waiting for that to tick over on the timing board. Well, it was only stationary for 18 seconds, which is interesting. As Kale comes in. Hammer time now for Mesmo. He'll be staying out. He's got to defeat the undercut. Time to push. John McNamara will be in his ear telling him it's time to go. As Dawson and Flavel come in as well with Kale.
Now, I think with track temperatures sitting where they are, the undercut will be quite powerful on a fresh set of tyres.
Maguire now, after having that very early stop, starting to come back through the field. Just need to keep an eye on here where Timmy Mulford is going to come across the line. He's going to have Flavelle, Dawson, Kale. Kale's going to come out in front of Dawson, Flavelle, so the order doesn't change with those three. Maguire's going to get past Flavelle, though. That is the kicker there. So Maguire now sits in the middle of this pack with tyres that are 18 laps old. So if Troy is playing that different strategy, it's time now to make it work for him as Visma and Stone Street come in. We're starting to see a few more. Mesmo stays out in a little bit of a battle here with Coleman. Coleman up the inside.
Yeah, I don't think Simon saw Dave till the last moment there. Simon went to turn in and realised that he had a car beside him, so Coleman makes another spot.
And he's on fire. Up 15 spots into fourth at the moment.
Yeah, pretty good effort there from Dave. I'm sure he'll be quite pleased with his effort so far, but there's still quite a few laps to go. We're still got, what do we got? Nearly 30 laps to go, so...
They're just going to see now. Mulford goes past. Where does he come out? He's going to get past Visma. I think the undercut, as you said, Mark, has paid off.
Yeah, I definitely think with the track temperatures the way they are, that your early lap pace on fresh tyres is a big gain. So that overcut is definitely probably something that you need to force over many laps. You're not going to get it in 1 or 2 laps. So if you're going to stay out, I think you need to stay out for at least 6-7 laps longer than anybody else.
As Hobson and Gamble have headed in. Also point out too that Bismarck stopped for 10 seconds longer or 13 seconds longer than what Mulford and Stone Street did. So that will play out at the next round of stops. So James Scott still out on track in a little bit of traffic. Just keep an eye on Stone Street, see how he rolls out. These boys coming out of pit lane. Hobson still in front of Gamble, where Mez and Coleman come out here. Stone Street's going to move into P4. And I think the other two boys putting in, I know they're both leaving, 12, not much, only second difference there in fuel. Nice work there by Stone Street, Mark, putting on lap 20. So it's not like he's gone a big undercut on everybody else.
No, Troy doing a very solid job out there. We spoke a little bit earlier in the broadcast how he probably just needs a fraction of luck to capitalise on how well he's driving, and so far so good for Troy. His strategy spot on. He's driving extremely well, so fingers crossed he can carry that through for the next 28 laps.
And James Scott coming in for his first stop. So that will basically see, let's try and get the right camera back again, sorry. That'll basically see the whole field now complete their first pit stop. So got that first shakeout. I've got the times up on the board there so people can see. So Scott was stationary for 13.4. 12.3, 13. Anthony Visma's the one to watch at the next stop, putting in 10 seconds more fuel than everybody else. And the other one to watch, of course, will be Shanahan. So
Troy Maguire back in the pits as well, John. So I definitely think that early pit stop may have been because he didn't have the right setup in the car. He might have left his qualifying setup in.
Hmm. Coleman and Mulford still battling. These two guys do this week in, week out here at East Coast.
Aidan Cale has thrown his hat into the ring here as well. Dives up the inside.
Gets the job done on Coleman. Alan Dawson not too far behind this group as well. Be hoping they keep battling away. So with the Viz would be hoping they keep battling as well so he can pull away.
Aidan Cale definitely looking racy amongst these drivers here. Just harassing the back of Timmy Mulford.
Mulford goes defensive. Cale gets it pulled up. That was some very fancy footwork by Cale to get that to stop.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Timmy Mulford might have thought he might have been in a little bit of trouble there as well because Timmy was lucky to pull that up.
He's done very well. You know, the battling keeps continuing. And Scott Gamble goes, oh no, that's just a flick. And Coleman in the box seat watching this.
Yeah, Timmy Mulford definitely pushing very, very hard at the moment, getting a bit squirrely off some of the exits, and yeah, tyres would not be liking that, especially with the track temperatures the way they are.
Oh, it's a bit of a tap there.
That was very close to being a bit of a big incident there. Aidan Cale did really well to pull that up in the end. Timmy closed the door on him at the last minute.
Coleman thought about a look at that stage as well, a little bit wide. Coleman here with the best tickets in the house for this one.
Yeah, watching these ones, if I was Coleman, I'd probably give myself a car length and just breeze through once it all explodes.
Don't want to be the first on the scene of the accident. Coleman now having a look up the inside. Nicely gets it pulled up, and you can see it's bunched the boys up behind as well. So all of a sudden now, Mesamo and Dawson getting involved in this as well.
It's gone from a 2-car battle into a 5-car battle.
Alan Dawson's got himself right behind Cale. Mesamo's getting involved in this as well. Plenty of action on down the back here.
Yeah, this is a battle for 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th at the moment. Yeah, Dave Coleman doing a great job to get past Aidan Cale on that previous lap, and he's now harassing the back of Timmy Mulford, who is currently sitting in P6.
Oh, Cale with a big slide out of the corner there. That's opened the door for Dawson. Bear's having a good look here as well. He might poke his nose in. No.
Yeah, really seen drivers who push the envelope and get too much lateral load in their tyres really suffer on that next lap around, because track temperature are high, and as soon as you load them tyres up, it's very hard for the tyres to recover.
And it looks like Mulford and Coleman there got a bit battling again. This has allowed Dawson to come up into this group. As Visma just pokes out of the pits. Not sure why Visma was in the pit lane. That's interesting. But anyway. Ah, it's Horton, sorry.
Yeah, it's going to be definitely interesting to see where Visma lands with that long stop he took come the second round of pit stops.
This group here is still battling too wide on the infield. Great driving from Alan Dawson. And Aidan Kale swapping positions again. Mez now gets to look up the inside.
Yeah, Dawson just defending a fraction too hard there and ended up losing 2 spots instead of 1. So, yeah, sometimes you got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them, as they say. And he probably could have just relinquished the 1 spot and then slotted back in, but defended hard and ended up losing 2. So, bad luck for Alan, but he's still in this battle well and truly.
Oh,
Aidan Kale too deep, and then Mazzomo gets through. All these boys are having a heap of fun out there by the look of it.
and an incident involving Vlasbom, James and Horton, I think, is being investigated. Just going to have a look. Might have been on lap 24. It's going to go to Supercheap Auto replay mode so we don't see anything. I'm bored with Horton. Oh, looks like Horton lost control a little bit. And I think the other boys have just... No, it's Vlasbom by himself. Just go back to Vlasbom going off. And jump on Reg James. So, yeah, I think Vlasbom's just put them off their braking mark a little bit. We'll let race control sort that one out. As we'll go back to this epic battle. As Mulford passes Coleman again. And Mulford and Coleman goes wide. Let's through Mesmo.
Yeah, big mistake there from Dave. He'll be frustrated with that.
And this battle here from 7th to 10th, absolutely putting on a show for us as Coleman heads into the pit lane. Of course, if you're doing the split strategy, you're looking at about lap 34, 33, so a little bit early for Coleman. Of course, these boys have been battling for a few laps, maybe worried he's cooked his tyres. There's a fair bit of pressure down the back of this group.
Coleman off the jacks, heading out of pit lane. So this is probably a strategy to try and leapfrog all them boys in front of him who he's battling with there. So this will be an interesting one. We should find out how this will play out in about 5 to 10 laps.
But definitely going to be an interesting strategy.
We've still got a good battle here with Mulford, Mazzomo, Aidan Kale and Alan Dawson. Dean Pavel not too far off the back of this group, so if these 4 boys battle for a few more laps like they have been, I think Dean may well find himself right on the back of Alan Dawson pretty shortly.
Definitely plenty to play for with these lads.
We're about 21 and a half laps to go, so not a whole heap of racing left really. It's 21 laps will fly by.
Dave Baldock getting excited for Thursday night. Track looks like a nightmare.
I'm not sure if that's for drivers or race control, Dave, but there's been some pretty good racing tonight on a fairly tight and twisty track. It's been some good passing manoeuvres actually, which kind of not surprised me, but pleasantly surprised, I would say. Some very, very good passing manoeuvres have happened so far.
And if I do recall, I think Baldock beat me last time we were here. But definitely some good little battles. Coleman, of course, he's come back out in 13th. After that second stop. Himself past Shanahan here. So keep an eye on him as he works his way through. Cale's responded. He's coming into the lane. And Mulford now still under pressure from Mesamo. Dean Flavel's about a 1.3 seconds behind this group. And Dawson about half a second back. Steve Tonkin not too far from being in the mix as well.
Dave Coleman just approaching the front straight now, so he's Aidan Cale off the jack, but just
Coleman's through. Yep.
Yeah, and that's probably, by the time Cale gets up and running, that's going to be a 2 or 3 second gap, I think. So that's a pretty powerful undercut because they were pretty close together before Dave pitted.
Well, we did say, or we did think that Dave had the pace, the way he was battling with those boys. So not surprised Coleman's jumped a little bit. Visma's the real one we want to watch because that 10 seconds difference in pit stops there. Only 6 seconds behind Stone Street. So that's the interesting battle to watch. Stone Street needs to be conscious of that. Because 20 seconds back to Gamble. Gamble's 9 behind Hobson, then 6 seconds back to Scott. So our leading 4 cars, definitely plenty of space around them as Mez comes into the pit lane. Responding now. Dawson and Favell stay out, and Mulford. Like I said,
I think trying to cover somebody off now is really probably not going to work. We just saw how much Dave Coleman was able to gain on Aidan Cale. I'm expecting him to do a similar thing with Simon Mazzomo.
Simon's not even off the jacks yet. Just dropped off the jacks now. And Coleman blasts through with another one. So definitely a fair bit happening. That group.
Aidan Cale through as well.
Yep. Yeah, so Mez still battling with Cale. And of course we've got Shanahan in front of these boys. Excuse me. And Mulford under pressure from Dawson now. And down the lane.
Dawson in the lane. Timmy Mulford stays out. Not unusual to see Timmy play the long game.
Yeah, Flavel going with him. Flavel's probably sat back behind that group, looked after his tyres. Hasn't really battled with anybody. So could be looking at using the tyres to go that little bit longer. So definitely keep an eye on how this all starts to roll out now. But Mulford still battling his way. And he's been caught by Flavel.
So just of note, last lap time around, Timmy Mulford was a 34.8. Dave Coleman on fresher tyres was a 33.6. So that's a huge, huge advantage.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. Big difference. But you got to be hoping that when we get to the end, the newer tyres will pay off for the guys going the longer stretch. As those two guys go another time around, it's going to drop in here with Mesimo and Kale. These two are still battling. This is for position. And both of these guys have stopped twice.
And just behind these boys, Alan Dawson, who was right in the thick of it in a battle with all these boys prior to the pit stops, he is now probably a second and a half back from these two boys. So once again, just goes to show you how powerful it is once you put the tyres on for just a single lap, how much you can gain.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's just have a look. As Mulford, Flavel have gone again, another lap, and sort of get a bit of an idea of some of those pit strategies there. As Matthew Shanahan is in pit lane. Timmy Mulford now is under pressure from Dean Flavel.
But 16 laps to go now, John. I think Anthony Visma, as you said, he was probably one of the longest stoppers. If I was Anthony, I'd be probably diving in pretty soon and trying to make up as much ground on Troy Stone Street with an undercut as I could.
We reckon there's about 10 seconds difference in fuel, so if we flipped the switch on that, he should come out about 4 seconds ahead of Stone Street. But we'll just wait and see how it plays out for him. Definitely plenty of free air for him and Stone Street in this stint. Yeah, I'd probably be doing that if I was me, Mark. I'd be probably looking at that undercut.
Yeah, I think just try and take a little bit of pressure off how much you have to do in the pit stop. If you make that earlier call, you put the pressure back on the driver in front.
Yeah. As Flavel still pressuring Mulford and Mesimo still pressuring Kale. There's locking the tyre up again. Got to look after those boys. Need all four of them to get to the end.
Mulford and Flavel go again. Dean Flavel's range right up on the back of Timmy Mulford now.
And Visma is in the lane. An eye on how that plays out. Rich James coming out of the pit lane there. He's all the way back in 16th. He's up 2 spots.
Fairly quick stop there from Visma.
And back out in 8th position. And back out with clean air around him. As Mulford's made a mistake. Going to go Supercheap Auto replay. Just gone a bit hot into the corner. Allowing Dean Flavel to get through. So, Visma after that second stop sees himself leading the second stoppers. He is out in 8th ahead of Dean Coleman. Whoop, Apologies. He gets himself ahead of Coleman. So there's 7 seconds there. Battle is how long does Stone Street need to be stationary? Of course, Visma's pit time was 10.6 seconds. As Flavel and Tonkin are in the lane. And it's going to go back. That's Visma through there. Stone Street's the one to keep an eye on. And where is our man Timmy Mulford? Reg James, the lapped car, sitting behind him here. And Hobson and Gamble are in the pits as well. So they Gamble just covering Hobson here. Stone Street got out the back of the circuit. Has a fair way to go. He's coming in as well. This is where the timer is for the P4 position. Has Visma done enough? Jump Stone Street. That is the question being asked here.
Visma are only coming down the back side of the track now, so still a fairly big gap for these two.
Yeah, I think it still will be. Intrigued to know whether Visma's first stop put too much fuel in by mistake.
Stone Street's still on
the jacks. Yeah. He's off the jacks now. Visma's going to have him. Only just.
Oh,
Yeah.
Stone Street just comes out in front.
Just.
That was that was Horton that got through. So, not sure what happened in that first stop for Visma.
And James Scott is in the lane, our race leader. We haven't mentioned him too much tonight, but he's still out there. Circulating good time period ahead of Hobson and Gamble. Going to jump back on this battle. Keep an eye on this for a minute because Visma's got the tyres up the temperature. And Stone Street's got to bleed them in. And for those playing along at home, there is 2 laps difference between these tyre sets. And the pit time for both of them. And Visma was stationary for 10.6, Stone Street 13.4. So it's a big little battle to the end. We'll keep an eye on this one. It's Stone Street. Definitely looking to get a good result here. It's going to go back to the Mez. And of course, Timmy Mulford is the only person not to do his second stop. At the Mez at the moment, he's still battling with Alan Dawson and Aidan Cale. These guys have all been this close all night.
Yeah, Dawson definitely closed that gap down. It was a good couple of seconds after the pit stop cycle. Alan was the last of this lot to come in, and he's been able to close that gap down significantly over the past 3 or 4 laps.
It definitely been a good little battle. Still plenty of time to go here. Still got 12 laps left. Just going to check on that Stone Street one and Visma. Dave Coleman 9 seconds behind these guys.
Yeah, still a great job from Dave. He's up 12 spots from his starting position, so great driving so far tonight from the Fishy lad.
Doing really well. Quite happy with his efforts here. Back to Mesmo Dawson. This is where the battle's at on track. Oh, Bez gets a little bit loose there. Definitely a battle with these boys to the end. I keep a bit of an eye on Mulford as well. Oh, still hasn't come in for that second stop. What has happened is Stone Street has now caught up behind him. Of course, Stone Street under pressure from Visma behind. That's going to create a little bit of angst here.
We know how difficult Tim can be to get past, and he won't make it easy for these boys.
Definitely going to be a struggle. Stoney under pressure from Visma.
Visma just stuck the nose down there, and Troy had no option but to leave him some space.
Not sure what happened. Maybe he got Mr. Gear coming out one of the corners there.
The long strategy for Tim is, I don't think, is not going to work out too well for him. He's in the 35s. The boys behind him are in the 32s and 33s. So them tyres on Tim's car would be well and truly second hand by now.
That'd be very second hand. There's coming in this time by Visma. This is a job through. So keep an eye on this battle. This is going to be a hot battle towards the end as well. Going back to Mesamo. He's still under pressure as well in the middle. Aidan Kale, new to the series, driving really, really well.
Yeah, Aidan put on a real good performance tonight. We've seen him in some good side-by-side battles, seen him make some good passes. Currently sitting in P8, P7, sorry.
You're pretty happy with that one?
So Mulford just coming off the jacks now.
Tonkin is through. So you'd have much newer tyres than the rest. Many laps to go though.
No, so yeah, Timmy Mulford's dropped back down to P13. So that really long stint, I think, has hurt his strategy tonight.
Yeah, definitely buggered his tyres, I think.
Dawson, Mazzomo and Kale still in a very hotly contested battle just inside the top 10 here. The 7th, 8th and 9th at the moment. There are still putting a ton of pressure on each other.
Making it easy. Of course, Visma and Stone Street battling for that 4th spot as well, within a second of each other.
About 8.5 laps to go, so still a few laps to get some moves done.
Check back in on the Viz. Runs a little wideish, allowing Stone Street to close up a little bit.
Because we've hardly mentioned the top 3 tonight. James Scott, Brenton Hobson and Scotty Gamble doing a great job out in front. They're fairly well spaced apart, but they've driven flawlessly, all 3 of them, and definitely looking like they have at this stage got the podium wrapped up.
Yeah, James Scott, 8.5 seconds ahead of Hobson. Basically been out there since the start. Hobson, of course, is got himself 14 seconds up the road from Scotty Gamble, and Gamble is an amazing 32 seconds up the road from Anthony Visma. So these lead boys getting plenty of laps ticked over at the moment, as Mulford's just got himself past Steve Tonkin, and Aidan Cale is still under a lot of pressure from Mesamo and Dawson. But the guy in front of these, who's got himself 6 seconds up the road, who we haven't talked about for a little bit, is in clean air, is Dave Coleman. He's up 13 spots, sitting in 6th. So a big performance from Dave this week.
Yeah, great drive from Dave. I think Simon Sonoma, I think he'd be pretty happy with his drive tonight. I think he's done an excellent job. Been in some hotly contested battles, made some good passes, and only really made one big mistake, which cost him a couple of spots. But overall, I think he's driven a good race, considering he doesn't do a lot of laps in the supercar. It's a bit of a shot across Scotty Rankin's bow, his performance tonight.
Oh, definitely. Rankin definitely has his work cut out for him now. I do know Rankin will come back and watch this.
I think Scotty's in the Indy cars tonight somewhere.
Yes, does his IndyCar series every fortnight. Shout out to Paul Young watching us as well.
Yeah, big hello to Paul. Haven't seen him around for a while. Hope all is well, Paul, and you're still enjoying your racing. I did see him at Scops when I was watching that the other week, so still driving well. So yeah, big shout out, and hope things are going well for you, mate.
There's these guys now, lap 45. I think Visma's going to have the wood here to hold up Stone Street. Stone Street doesn't seem to be closing in on the gap.
There's still a few laps to go. Anything can happen, especially on this track. It's a pretty easy track to run wide somewhere and drop some places. We've seen that with a few people tonight. So Fat Lady hasn't sung yet. We've still got 4 or 5 laps to go.
Definitely anything can still happen, but it's definitely been another great drive from James. Bobo would be pretty chuffed with his second. And Mez here working really hard now.
This is the time of the race where you really got to keep your concentration up. You're thinking you just want the race to end, and it's been a long night and I'm buggered and I just want to get to the finish line, and that's when the lapses in concentration can come. So just got to keep ticking away, keep doing what you've done all night, and try not to land yourself off the track somewhere.
Yeah, you may be sitting in front of a computer, but doesn't mean you're not going to get fatigued.
Yeah, absolutely. Mark Horton doing a great job there, giving these boys plenty of space to keep their race underway.
Of course, Mark's first outing here at East Coast. Well,
yeah, big welcome to Mark. Good to see another one of the Accelerate boys here having a run on a Tuesday night with us. Definitely think, you know, a lot of the vets boys who have come here to race has definitely probably, I think, improved their driving and given them an opportunity to run with some faster guys, different track temperatures, open setups, and a good way to test their skills and improve their knowledge and their ability to race side by side with some very, very good drivers.
yeah, definitely an interesting mixed standard in the field, but I think it was one of the drivers, I think it might have been Aidan Cale, actually mentioning to me that, you know, feels very honoured to be able to be in the same race as James Scott and the Brenton Hobson and the big names of the Pro Series. Be able to be in the same server as those guys is why he learns his craft. He was very privileged to be in that role.
I think one of the great things about the East Coast Series is that you do have a broad range of drivers and different skill sets, different ideas, and I think that's one of the great things about this series is that it gives an opportunity to everybody.
Of course, this season ticking away very quickly and already planning going on for next season. If you want to get involved, make sure you reach out to Ash. Are we going to get a move done here or not? It's getting closer. Lawson getting more and more racy here.
Aidan Cale's been able to open up a few car lengths on Mazzomo, and Alan Dawson really applying the blowtorch now to Simon. So this is the back end of the top 10, and yeah, Dawson very keen to make at least one more spot.
They've been fighting very hard all night, this group. Very entertaining to watch.
Bismar's been able to open up a bit of a gap on Troy Stone Street as well, so good job there from Bismar into P4. Troy Stone Street's had a solid night's work as well in P5 at the moment.
Lead of our Super 2 cars. We'd be pretty happy with that, leader of the series as well. Dave Coleman, though, getting the points behind him. That'll make that battle tighten up a little bit more. Mulford dropping back a little bit.
Only 2.5 laps to go, so not a lot of racing left for these boys to make any more positions, but I'm sure Alan Dawson and Simon, 'Simon' 'Mazzomo' have still got a few things to say about that. 'Simon' 'Mazzomo' have still got a few things to say about that. 'Simon' 'Mazzomo' have still got a few things to say about that. 'Simon' 'Mazzomo' have still got a few things to say about that. 'Simon' 'Mazzomo' have still got a few things to say about that. 'Simon' 'Mazzomo' have still got a few things to say about that. 'Simon' 'Mazzomo' have still got a few things to say about that. 'Simon' 'Mazzomo' have still got a few things to say about that. 'Simon' 'Mazzomo' have still got a few things to say about that. 'Simon' 'Mazzomo' have still got a few things to say about that. 'Simon' 'Mazzomo' have still got a few things to say about that. 'Simon' 'Mazzomo' have still got a few things to say about that. 'Simon' 'Mazzomo' have still got a few things to say about that. 'Simon' 'Mazzomo' have still
James Scott about to start the penultimate lap. So definitely one of the form drivers in the country at the moment, young James.
Yeah, James has lapped up all the way up to Timmy Mulford at the moment. So Tim Mulford sitting in P11. So James coming up on the back end of the top 10 now. That's how far in front he is.
He's definitely driving well, Hobbo. He's been very busy of late, work commitments. Hasn't had a hell of a lot of sim time.
Looking forward to that battle again with Carl Mazzomo and Dawson. Simon, we did see Aiden open up a bit of a gap, but that has plummeted to near zero now, and these boys are line astern once again.
So James Scott taking the white flag. But Rich James getting out of the way there nicely. These boys have had a great battle. Lap and a half left for these guys.
Yeah, I definitely think these boys will exit the game tonight and feel like they have done a pretty solid night's work. These boys have raced like this from the get-go, and it's been very, very good to watch.
Mm. Keep a bit of an eye on our race leader as he's heading down the back section again. Of course, the Love Esports team will be the team to watch after a good round last time out at Phillip Island. We're looking for big things from them at Red Bull tomorrow night. But tonight, James Scott is going to take another victory. He's had 2 zeros for his 2 drop rounds so far. Can't afford a bad one, but tonight's a good one. He's pretty chuffed with himself to take a win. As he said, it was going to be a rock up and drive. And he has done that to take the checkered flag. The man in second, Brenton Hobson, he has had another great drive as well. He'll be happy to be on the podium. Scotty Gamble, the man leading our vets, second in the championship. He's going to come home in P3. A good bag of points in that for him. So I think Scotty would be pretty chuffed with that one. And the next man coming down the back straightaway, you see the lead top 3 pulled out on Visma. And the Viz, he's had a pretty solid night.
Yeah, I think probably one of Anthony's better drives tonight. No real mistakes. We've seen Anthony in good positions before, and just makes that one mistake in a race, and it really kind of ruins his night. But tonight he's driven flawlessly, and congrats to him to come home in P4. And same with Troy Stonestreet, another solid drive, and he gets home in P5.
And this bloke's been impressive as well tonight. And that, of course, is the one and only Dave Coleman.
That's great.
We'll have a quick chat to the man that won the race, and that's James Scott. How are you, James?
Not bad, mate. How are you?
How plug and play, mate?
Yeah, I've actually don't think I've ever driven this track. This like layout. Yeah, it was pretty interesting. Just bolted on set up for tomorrow night. and went for it. So yeah, I don't know. It was couldn't take much from it. It was just cruise around and try and keep it on the black stuff. Really, it was pretty slippery out there.
Yeah. No, it was a hot circuit, which would have made it a bit interesting for you boys. Anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, obviously all our sponsors, Speed Cafe, Ryko, Hybrid Racing Simulations as well. Thanks to all those guys for coming on and making all this possible. All the guys at the team, Lobs Esports, really making some good inroads with you know, probably more to our driving rather than the setup, which has been really good. Trying to really fine tune how we drive the car. And yeah, the series broadcast guys, yourself, Mark, showing up each week, and the admin people as well.
Yeah, not too easy, mate. Terry Taylor's just said it's amazing how much pace these guys have in this series, but so slow in others. Than LOL. So it's good to have Terry back. We haven't had Terry for a while. It's good to have him back in the comms. And of course, mate, tomorrow night we got Red Bull. Yeah, you ready for that?
Yeah. You know, feeling not too bad. Obviously tonight, just jumped into this one. Knew I was in with a shot at the championship, so I didn't want to let that slide after, you know, doing all the other rounds. So,
yep.
But feeling pretty good for tomorrow night. We'll, you know, a lot of drafting and everything else, so might be a bit of a luck of the draw, but we'll see where we end up.
Oh, all the best for that one, mate. And Hobbo's jumped in with us as well. Mr. Hobson, P2.
Hello, John. How's it going?
Good, mate. How are you?
I'm exhausted.
Thought you'd be. I thought you would be.
I'm too old to do races around this track. There's no straights for me to have a break on.
It is a bit like that, isn't it?
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough, but I'm fairly happy with that. Without the practice, without a setup, and just jumped in and sent it. I think P2 is probably as good as I can hope for whenever James is around anyway. So I'll take that one to the bank. Gives me just a little bit of confidence, I guess, for tomorrow night, and fingers crossed, yeah, we can back it up again tomorrow with a decent result again.
Yes, guys, big night for you tomorrow night as well.
Yes, yeah, much preferred this track over that one, but that's all right. We'll see how we go.
You'll have a bit of fun, mate. You'll have a bit of fun. Anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Just all the usual lot. All my SSR teammates that bothered to turn up and race tonight. Appreciate all them. All the sponsors on the team, all that stuff. Obviously, everyone involved here with the league. It makes it all run for us, and you guys for putting on a broadcast. Appreciate it.
We have to put on another special broadcast here. We're going to have a sprint. We're going to have a drag race between the two safety cars. I think that's what they're working on. No, it's good, mate, having these guys in. It's these guys that put on the show. Of course, James has already left us, and of course, next week we are off to the one and only Suzuka, which will be a very interesting track for you guys.
That's a horrible track.
Very technical track, they tell me. You got to be one of these really cool drivers that can drive really well.
Yeah, I don't know about any of that. I'm not one of them, obviously, because that track is horrible.
Yeah, I think I get myself into a lot of trouble there all the time.
I'm watching this drag race.
I'm broadcasting it.
I think it's only going to end one way, isn't it?
Yeah. Matty McMillan in front here. This is good. Actually, no, it's not Matty McMillan. It's Worrell. Worrell's driving the Vets safety car versus the East Coast safety car. This is quite entertaining. Anyway, on that note, we will wrap that up with that one. And, of course, next week we'll be back at Suzuka. Hopefully I won't be coughing as much as what I am tonight. And on that note of that drag race from these boys, we're going to go again the other way. On that note, we'll leave this with the final bit of this drag race, and we'll see everybody again next week. Thanks again, Mark, for helping me out. Thanks to everyone watching, and thanks again to all the drivers at Race Control.
Cheers, John.
There's no arguing that people love their cars.
We weren't arguing.
They talk about their cars, sing about their cars. Some people even look like their car. Whether it's an old car, new old car, fast car, family car, electric car, race car, two-wheel car, no-wheel car, or a car you know's parked around here somewhere. People who love their cars love to tinker with them. Some people tinker big, some people tinker small, some people tinker some degree between those two variables.
Whose voice is that?
And that's where Supercheap Auto comes in. We've been helping people tinker for 50 years. For people like Bill, Lucy, Kevin, other Kevin.
Oi, get off my car!
Didn't catch this guy's name.
It's Kevin.
Not Patrick. He doesn't shop with us. Whoever you are, whatever you drive, we'll help you make it super. Because super is our middle name. Well, technically it's our first.